Zohran Mamdani was sworn in as New York City's 112th mayor on Thursday, marking the beginning of a new administration in the largest city in the United States. At 34 years old, Mamdani becomes the youngest person to hold the office in more than a century, leading a city of roughly 8 million residents and an economy that, if measured independently, would rank among the top 10 in the world. His inauguration followed a November election that drew record voter participation and placed him at the center of national political attention. Mamdani, a Democrat aligned with the party's Democratic Socialist wing, won the mayoral race with about 50% of the vote, securing a margin of nearly 10 points over former Governor Andrew Cuomo, who ran as an independent and far ahead of Republican candidate Curtis Sliwa. More than 2 million New Yorkers cast ballots, making it one of the highest turnout mayoral elections in the city's modern history. Analysts have noted that such turnout reflects heightened voter engagement around cost of living issues, which dominated the campaign. The public swearing-in ceremony took place on the steps of City Hall, even as temperatures remained well below freezing. Thousands gathered in person, while additional viewing areas were set up along Broadway to accommodate overflow crowds watching via livestream. Earlier, just after midnight, Mamdani had been privately sworn in at the long-closed City Hall subway station, a historic site opened only on rare occasions. The choice of location highlighted the symbolic importance of public infrastructure and transit in the city's history. During the inauguration, Mamdani emphasized that his administration would pursue an ambitious governing agenda focused on affordability and access to public services. He made clear that he intended to govern in line with the principles he campaigned on, stressing that his electoral victory reflected voter support for those ideas rather than a mandate to soften them. His remarks framed the election as part of a broader effort to make the city more livable for working and middle-class residents facing rising costs. Mamdani's political platform centers on several major policy goals. These include implementing a universal childcare system, freezing rents for approximately 2 million tenants living in rent-stabilized apartments, and making city buses free to use. New York currently has the largest rent stabilization program in the United States, covering roughly 44% of all rental units, and housing costs consume more than 30% of income for a majority of renters. His proposals aim to directly address these long-standing pressures. To finance these initiatives, Mamdani and his team have pointed to higher taxes on high-income individuals and corporations. His incoming deputy mayor, Dean Fuleihan, has said the administration plans to seek increased taxes on millionaires to help balance the city's budget and fund new programs. New York City already has one of the highest combined state and local tax burdens in the country, and any changes would require approval from the state legislature and cooperation from the governor. New York Governor Kathy Hochul has expressed opposition to raising personal income taxes, but has indicated openness to increasing corporate taxes as the state faces potential budget shortfalls linked to federal funding reductions. This dynamic underscores a key constraint on the new mayor's agenda. While New York City manages a budget exceeding $100 billion annually, many revenue decisions remain under state control. Mamdani's inauguration drew prominent figures from the progressive movement, including U.S. Senator Bernie Sanders and Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Both have argued that policies aimed at expanding affordable housing, childcare, and public transit are consistent with long-standing social democratic traditions in American cities. Their presence signaled strong support from the party's left wing, which views Mamdani's victory as evidence that affordability-focused campaigns can succeed in major urban centers. Supporters in attendance described the inauguration as a moment of renewed optimism. Many cited personal experiences with rising rents, transportation costs, and childcare expenses as reasons for backing Mamdani. According to city data, average rents in New York rose by more than 20% between 2020 and 2024, while childcare costs for infants can exceed $20,000 per year, among the highest in the nation. At the same time, skepticism remains. Business leaders and financial sector figures had previously expressed concern about how Mamdani's policies might affect investment and job growth in the nation's financial capital. Since the election, however, several industry groups have indicated a willingness to engage with the new administration, reflecting an understanding that city government and the private sector remain closely interconnected. Republican political organizations quickly moved to frame Mamdani as a national symbol of the Democratic Party's leftward shift. A leading Republican congressional campaign group stated that his policies would be used to draw contrasts in upcoming House races. This reaction highlights how mayoral leadership in New York often carries national significance, particularly in years leading up to midterm elections that determine control of Congress. Mamdani's background has also drawn attention. Born in Uganda, he immigrated to the United States and later represented a Queens district in the New York State Assembly. His inauguration marked several firsts for the city. He is its first Muslim mayor, its first South Asian mayor, and its first immigrant mayor in more than 100 years. For his swearing in, he used a Quran, including one from the New York Public Library that once belonged to noted historian Arturo Schomburg, underscoring the city's diverse cultural history. Following the ceremony, Mamdani signed a series of early executive orders. Among them was a decision to revoke executive orders issued by his predecessor after late September 2024, a period marked by political turmoil at City Hall. He also announced that he would not pursue ending mayoral control of the city's public school system, which serves more than 1 million students and is the largest in the country. Instead, he appointed veteran educator Kamar Samuels as school's chancellor, signaling an emphasis on administrative continuity in education. Education policy remains a critical issue in New York, where standardized test scores and graduation rates vary widely by borough and income level. The city spends over $38,000 per student annually, yet outcomes remain uneven, making leadership stability a priority for many families and educators. Mamdani's campaign and transition were funded by a large grassroots donor base. He raised approximately $2.6 million for transition activities and inaugural events from nearly 30,000 contributors. This total represents one of the highest numbers of individual donors for a New York mayoral transition in this century, reflecting a fundraising model less reliant on large single donations. As mayor, Mamdani will move from his rent-stabilized one-bedroom apartment in Astoria to Gracie Mansion, the official mayoral residence on Manhattan's Upper East Side. The contrast between these two residences has been noted by observers as symbolic of the broader economic divides the city faces, where median household income varies dramatically by neighborhood. On the national stage, Mamdani has been vocal on issues such as immigration and urban policy, positioning himself as a prominent Democratic figure ahead of the midterm elections. His election has fueled debate within the Democratic Party over strategy, particularly whether emphasizing affordability and public services can help mobilize voters in other parts of the country. The broader context for Mamdani's administration is a city that, while economically strong by many measures, continues to grapple with inequality. New York's unemployment rate has remained below the national average, and tourism and financial services have largely rebounded. Yet more than 1 in 5 residents lives near the poverty line, and cost pressures remain intense for low and middle-income households. As this new administration begins, expectations are mixed. Supporters see an opportunity for bold policy experimentation in a city with significant resources and influence. Critics question whether ambitious promises can be fully realized within existing fiscal and political constraints. What is clear is that Zohran Mamdani's mayoralty is set to be closely watched, both for its impact on New York City and for what it may signal about the future direction of urban governance and national politics. This is the landscape Mamdani inherits and the one he now seeks to reshape.